This episode is sponsored by Kelly King Coaching Services, an identity centered and results driven executive coaching business that helps professionals sharpen their leadership skills so they can embrace the next level of their career journey. If you're a leader who needs clarity and confidence on how to thrive in your current or future leadership role, let's chat. Visit kellykingcoaching.com. That's KELLEY, kingcoaching.com to schedule a free 30-minute coaching session and also learn about the services we offer so we can get you up and going on that career journey that you are desiring to be on.
Yeah, we in the building. 4 times dope. Yeah, we known to get it live, man. 4 times dope. New level, keep it high, yeah. 4 times dope. Mic check, now we on it, we live.
All right, ready?
We good. Rock and roll.
Rock and roll, man. Let's do it.
Let's do it. What's up, Miss Forte? How you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good. No, me and Miss Forte ran into each other at St. August homecoming. She wanted to come eat chicken with
Yes.
Miss Forte.
I had a great time. I'm still recovering. And that was
You got more to look forward to now.
yeah. But
Miss
now,
Forte.
see, I'm not gonna be able to go to ours.
Why?
Why?
My great grandbabies are coming. Mike is coming here, and his wife are getting ready to hang out and everything. They need somebody to take care of the babies. So
Bring them out to the yard.
they too little.
They be born.
8 months old. They can't do it.
Right,
Oh, okay.
right.
So I'm having fun. I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna
Right.
do all the stuff up until then.
Right. Miss Forte.
Okay.
Miss Forte,
Yeah.
the last time I seen you, because I hadn't been to homecoming in a couple of years, but we used to bump heads down in Goldsboro. We would go down to Goldsboro, handle some business, and we would meet. Me and you would bump heads in Goldsboro down in Seymour Johnson. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh my God, down at Seymour Johnson.
Yeah, a long time ago.
He took it back.
Yeah. It's been a
You
minute.
are taking me all the way back.
Yeah.
Because you know my sister-in-law is from Dudley.
Right.
So see, that's what we'd be down there. Okay.
Right. But you know what? I wasn't you. I think you taught all of us freshman year. You definitely
Yeah.
taught me.
Well, not
Yeah.
Kwame.
No, I never had
Well,
Miss
if
Forte.
you're speaking well, then I did.
I definitely didn't get that class though.
I'm pretty good at it.
Miss Forte. I am a full-fledged English professor right now, all because
Baby,
of y'all.
this is what I am saying.
I'm
Where are you,
serious.
Jermaine?
I'm at Georgetown and American University and Bowie State University.
That's what I'm telling
And he was at Maryland.
Yep, and I was at Maryland. Yep.
Yep.
Stacy, I don't know if you know this guy named Stacy. He says he works with Bowie's football team, teaching them. He's getting his master's in English,
Oh wow.
but he's teaching them like writing essentials.
That's good.
something
That's
like that.
good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's great.
You
Yeah.
a full-fledged English professor. How much do I love that, Dr. Jones?
Professor Jones.
And you know what? I'm gonna tell you something. I'll be wearing that NCCU paraphernalia and that PWI all the time.
That's what you
You
do.
hear me?
That's what
All
you
the
do.
time.
They would do it at Central.
Absolutely.
I went to Purdue. I don't give a fuck.
Look. The professor next to me went to Duke. So he came in my office. I got my old football helmet in there. My whole
Okay.
side is NCCU. And he said, "Hey man, I didn't know you went to Central. I went to Duke." And we just started kind of kicking it around, talking about athletes around that time and
Right.
homecomings. But he never stomped on our. I don't think he was ready to come on our campus and hang out a little bit like.
Well,
like we
no,
did.
I don't know if many Duke students come on our campus.
Basketball is about
Basketball,
it.
yeah, basketball.
I did a couple
Right. Well,
games.
see, when they used to have a summer league, now that was really cool. And then all of a sudden they stopped that and took it over to Durham High School.
Yeah,
And it never, and it fizzled.
right. It
It,
did
it,
fit.
it
Okay.
never did the same thing. Yeah.
Right.
Well, gentlemen, we're gonna get going on the show. Jermaine, you had a restful week. We were off last week. What you get into?
I actually had a family reunion on my dad's side in North Carolina, down in the country near Kinston. It was in a place, small town called Eureka, near Stansburg. So
Johannesburg near Wilson.
there you go. My mom lives in Wilson actually. So I went down there. That was the highlight of the week. Other than that, it's midterm, so I've been grading a couple essays but just resting, man. Just trying to rest up. That's all. That's it, man.
Gotta love it. Kwame, what's good, baby?
Everything's good. My weekend was pretty simple. I just took my parents down to back North Carolina from Maryland. Stayed overnight, and I shot right back up. So it was pretty uneventful.
We were supposed to hook up, but I was down with the Cade brothers at St. Aug.
He was hanging out with Miss Forte at St. Aug.
I was.
Yeah.
It was all that. Tell him, Jamie.
Their campus has gotten larger, y'all. They
Really?
That back part of it. So it's really, really big. They're not used to it. It's funny. They're
Right.
like, that's too far. I'm like, it's nothing for us.
But check this out. I had Casamigos. They were selling Casamigos with
The bags.
mango, and no, it was the guy was at the cooler. Mango, you could get either mango or strawberry. I'd never seen that before.
Wait,
I
hold
had
on,
a
Miss
good
Forte.
time.
It was Casamigos in a bag with.
No. You got it in a little bottle. In a little bottle, it's $20. You could either get strawberry or you could get mango.
You take the little
Already
bottle.
chilled, absolutely delicious. They had all kinds of cocktails out there.
Oh my goodness.
Kashara, what's good, dog?
I'm good, brother. I'm chilling. Eventful week. Very, very eventful week. I've just been rocking and rolling. Like, let me say this. The four of y'all know what I'm prepping for in 2023. So I can't really say yet. So with that being said, I've been doing a lot of gearing up. Let's just say that.
Broadway, y'all. You don't want to talk to know.
Yeah. So
Make his debut on Broadway.
yeah.
The big on the
But we'll talk about that at a later time. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And our guest today is Dr. Forte, Dr. Minnie.
No,
Forte.
it is not.
Well, you're gonna be my doctor. I don't give a shit.
Okay, well, thank you.
Exactly.
10,000 hours, right? That makes you an expert, right?
Exactly.
So
Right.
I'm pretty sure you taught a lot of us, so therefore we're gonna make you a doctor. But
Thank you.
she's our special guest. She was our speech professor at North Carolina Central University our freshman year, and we thought so much of her. We think so much of her. We wanted to have her on our show, and bless our listeners with her presence.
Yes,
So
and her knowledge.
we're gonna keep calling you doctor. I don't care what you
And I'm so excited to be here. This is a highlight for me.
What have you been up to lately?
Well, let me tell you. I joined the school board. I ran for school board, and I did that. I did it in 2004, and I ran unopposed ever since then. I ended my tenure in 2016 because I figured that had been enough time,
To affect
And I
change.
was blessed that they named a building after me.
Oh,
Yes,
shit.
you did.
Wow.
Staff Development
Wow.
Center is the Minnie Fort Brown Staff Development Center for Durham Public Schools. And I'm so honored because that's where young teachers will come to get trained, staff members will come to get trained. They'll do all kinds of coursework there and teaching there. So I'm excited. I was really excited about that has been my tenure. I know my mother is smiling. My mother and father are smiling in heaven about that.
And that
So
building is awesome.
that's a good thing for me.
That's
I'm
awesome.
still teaching
And
on
no problem.
Tuesdays and Thursdays only. I retired in 2011. And the chair of the department came and asked me if I could teach one course. So I said, oh, okay, I can do that. And I did it. And then he said, Minnie, can you teach 2 courses? So I said, no, that's it. So
That's it.
I do 2 speech classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and that's it. But this is what's exciting.
Yes.
I am,
Well, hold on, Miss Ford. Hold on.
North Carolina has the most HBCUs than any state in the
That's
nation.
right.
Okay.
Right.
So this young brother named James Ford, who was Teacher of the Year in North Carolina, he's from Chicago, has instituted what he calls the NC10, because we have 10 public institutions that are owned by that are run by the state in the UNC consortium. and we have five public institutions, and we have 5 privates.
Right.
We have all joined together. And what we're doing in that joining together is to make North Carolina colleges and universities the most prosperous. We're going to General Assembly. We're looking at how can we shore up everybody's campus so that we can bring students from everywhere to come to North Carolina to be a part of what we have all experienced. And we know it's the best education that they can possibly get. Right. So that's I am the engagement officer for that. So I'm dealing with all the chancellors and the faculty leaders, administration at those universities. So I'm excited. We're going into our 2nd year.
I love it.
Awesome.
That's good stuff. So let's jump into the first topic, boys. You ready?
Let's go.
All right, let's roll.
All right, let's go. So we're going to talk about Black Pride, and, thoughts of it from a historical context, to current day, and what does it mean to you? So Kwame, we're going to kick it to you. Tell us more what you think about Black Pride, where it started from, what you think about it, and where it started from, where we are with it today.
Well, I think when communities came together after, of course, slavery and Reconstruction period, and it was kind of forced to kind of, basically be together. Of course, it wasn't integrated, and I think from those humble times, it increased into, more Black people in the community, different professions coming together, living in the same community. Everybody was kind of like doing their part. So you had your baker, your banker, your barber, all those different things in the one community. And then a lot of these at that time, a lot of these places also might have been places closer to Black institutions, and thus forth. So I think when you start seeing different parts of the other communities start to come together, like you start hearing like the Renaissance period in Harlem or Bronzeville in Chicago, or either both Black Wall Streets, Tulsa and Durham. So it's just like all these places where I think when you start seeing it, you start seeing Black excellence. And also think that with that time period, you have we have different people with all walks of life. So you have, your singers, your artists, your poets. Everybody's kind of like, are speaking Black existence from there. And I think that was kind of the beginning part of it. And of course, it morphed into the 60s and 70s. And a lot of it just pretty much not feeling like we were less than and showing that we are more than what people present us to be. And I think more that dialogue coming, the more you start seeing that, and more people being educated with it, then I think that's kind of like how it grew. Currently, I think there's Black Pride as well, but I think it looks a little bit different. I don't feel like, at least from my opinion, I don't feel like people, say it or preach it out loud enough in terms of maybe how they did compared to the 60s and 70s, where you have, Jesse Jackson speaking, you had different, civil rights leaders, songs and stuff like that. And they teach them, being Black and proud. You don't hear that as much. I think it's more kind of morphed into like people more highlighting Black businesses and stuff like that, or maybe some Black shows, and it's there, but I don't think it's in the same way as it may be a whole full community. You got plenty of Black people who don't really prescribe to it, don't care about it. You know what I'm saying? And they, you know what I mean? And so you got that portion right there. Everybody's not getting it the same. So, I mean, that's pretty much what I think about it.
All right, Jermaine, you are an expert on it.
Ooh.
Dive in.
All right. So I'm going to echo some of what Kwame said. Because I don't know. I think you guys know how I feel about social media. I mean, it's a good tool. But anyway, when I think, what we talking about? Black Pride? I'm sorry. What was
yes.
Okay. So, here's what I do.
Your wheelhouse.
For some reason, I think 60s and 70s. I think Black exploitation movies. I think Tamara Gibson, and Proxy Brown, and Hell Up in Harlem, and Cleopatra Jones, and all those things. because for me, I think the 60s and 70s is when Black folks really started to like the emergence of like Black culture and identity started to pop off. I think that pick, that fist, that pick with that fist in it, I think that's representative of like the essence and the grassroots effort of Black um achievement and Black success. The other thing is there used to be this term that folks would say, Black is beautiful. I remember my mama saying it when I grew up, growing up. And it basically referred to like a broad embrace of Black culture and Black identity. So I think that just means Black identity. And we got to ask ourselves, what does that mean in 2022, right? Black identity. Is it a call for an appreciation for Black past and Black legacy? Do we celebrate Black legacy, right? Or is everything microwavable and right now, right? Because we already know America has rewritten and redefined the rules of beauty. So that's why we have all these folks. All you gotta do is go to Instagram and you see everybody chasing, and men too, chasing these European features. So that term Black is beautiful and that pick, that fist. I remember that pick, but that fist was
all our parents had it.
right. And those Black exploitation movies to me is definitive of Black identity. And it focused on not just Black identity, but it focused on Black emotion and the psychological well-being of Black folks, right? So think about it. So that whole movement affirmed culture, it affirmed style. No one else on this planet has style like Black folks, from the afros to the bell bottoms to the big cars they drove when the bumpers were this big. Everything was symbolic of not just Black struggle, but we're gonna take these lemons and make lemonade, sweet lemonade out of it. So for some reason, I mean, I do think about the Harlem Renaissance and all the major players of Lane Locke and those folks, but when we talk about Black pride, it's just leaving the 60s and going into the 70s. I remember being a baby going into the 80s, and it's like all my mom's friends had these dim living rooms with these beads coming down. Beads was a big thing. You know what I'm saying? You had to go
all that noise.
You had to do like this to get in the living room.
Wicker chairs.
You know what I'm saying? That's just the essence of that Black. And I don't care, it's universal. I don't care where you live. You had, and my mom had mirrors on the wall, and just the essence of Black culture to me was the 70s, 60s going into the 70s, man. And I think we've gotten away from it. I think social media has pulled us all the way left away from valuing that fist on that pick. So that's what I believe now.
Right. Okay, Dr. Forte. I want to know what your thoughts are on Black pride.
I like this. Down in the back, sunroof top, leaning on green. So we talk now. You talking my time. You know that's graduating from St. Augustine's in '72, wearing African clothing and wrapping my head in a gala head, going to Baltimore, wearing we wore bullet belts and camouflage and all of that. My name was Machika. Machika. And so we're talking about a Black pride that I don't think it has waned. Black Lives Matter is trying to revive it, but it has waned. When we say Black Lives Matter, that was, George Floyd and killing all these young Black men, that kind of thing. So to have to say that we matter, to wear that on a shirt says somehow not only did other people not know we matter, but we had to remind ourselves that we matter, So I painted it on my street. I live right here at the communication building. So I called the mayor, asked him if that was okay. He said, as long as my neighbor said it was fine. So I painted it on my street 2 years ago for those students that walk up to NCCU to take a look at that, because I painted in the middle, not covering the whole street, but in the middle, so you could see it even when the cars were parked. You could see that Black lives do matter, and maybe that would be just a slap in the face to you that you matter. I the beads hanging down, the 3 velvet pictures of Jesus, Martin Luther King, and was it Malcolm X? I can't remember what the other person was. But we had them all in your grandmama's living rooms, and of course in my living rooms I'm like your grandmother's. But I could what did it mean? Afros, we're going back to that. Your hair is natural. But that style is not in here.
Right.
Style, they're looking at it as style. No, do you know about the Black Renaissance? Do you know about the poetry? Do you know about the Richard Wright? Have you read Black Boy? Have you read Keith Ellison? Have you read those kind of things? Are you listening to music? Are you listening to Coltrane? Or what are you doing? Are you listening to poetry? What I wanted to read to y'all tonight was this.
Okay.
And I'm so glad we're talking about the celebration of Blackness. It's by Mari Evans. Who can be born Black? Who can be born Black and not sing the wonder of it, the joy, the challenge, and to come together in a coming togetherness, vibrating with the fires of pure knowing, reeling with power, ringing with the sound above sound, to explode in the majesty of our oneness, our coming together in a coming togetherness. Who can be born Black and not exalt? When I said I wanted to find a poem that celebrated our Blackness, that was the first one I came on with Mari Evans. But see, it's about being happy that you are Black, being proud that you are Black, worshiping and honoring your Blackness and all that goes with it. See, we got kids who are doing these things. They're wearing naturals and they got locks and stuff, but they ain't doing it because they think it's popular. They ain't because they don't understand what it's about. So it's up to us. It's up to you all to continue to bring to them the joy of being in this skin. And at homecoming, when this coming togetherness is a coming together, it's about all these Black folk getting together from walks of life, being successful, doing all kinds of things, knowing that you are brilliant, that you are capable, and not letting anybody tell you other than. You already know that you are destined to be great. So it's having that embedded in your head. Some of these kids have never seen a Black teacher. They've never had a Black teacher. So when they come to NCCU, it's they're worried about their grade. They're worried about they can't be in the band. They don't know if they you come to college to enjoy. What are you talking about? Enjoy. Get in this experience and understand that you can have fun and you're going to go and do your work. You're going to go to the party. You're going to pledge. You're going to stay up all night and get it done. But that's because that's what we do. Yes, I'm happy we're having this conversation about being Black and attending historically Black colleges and not thinking ever that you are less than. No. Because you know that you come from kings and queens. You know that everything that was created started in your place. So knowing that, see, all of that should be that should make you so proud, that you can't even listen to that bullshit that other people have to tell you. They say something about who you are not, because you never listen to that, because you know who you are and who you belong to. All right, let's go.
It's a lot to go behind, but I got faith in you, dog.
You better hold on.
We're gonna talk some Black Pride.
How am I gonna follow that?
Seriously?
I
don't know.
Because all y'all got this. That's why y'all do it. Don't talk. This is it.
That's right. Yes, it's funny because everything Kwame said, everything Jermaine said, and everything Ms. Forte said is kind of like that. All those things is the space I'm in right now when you talk about Black pride. Like Black pride was not something that was really talked about in my house growing up. But like you said, you saw things, you saw the afros, you saw the pics, you saw the things in the house, you saw the pictures on the wall, you saw all of that. So Black pride for me really didn't really get instilled in me for as far as like me embracing it and really understanding what it means was not until I came to North Carolina Central. You know, like that's when it really kind of hit then, you know, having teachers like Miss Ford and Dr. Kennedy, like there's certain people, you know, at Central who made an impact, you know, when it came to my Black pride. But and one of the things that stood out to me, which is why I wanted to talk about this topic, was like the Harlem Renaissance. Like that really wasn't talked about in school for me, like high school, middle school. Like it really wasn't talked about. You heard things, but you didn't hear about it. So I really got a good glimpse of what the Harlem Renaissance time period was. And it kind of excited me, you know, like that Black pride I was talking about, it continued to build from that. And so speaking from all those things to now, I do agree. I don't feel like people really understand what Black pride is. I think they kind of feel like it's a trend. So I don't really think they're getting it.
It is trending.
But
past
I do, right. But I do feel like it's kind of like, for me, in my opinion, I feel like there's an emergence of the similar Renaissance feel that's happening now. And when I say that, I mean like you have so many Black people now not waiting around for the white man to give you anything. You know, they're out here doing it, you know, on their own. And to me, that makes me proud. You know, even if it's not me directly, it's like, that's my brother, that's my sister. They're doing it. And I kind of want to, you know, lift them up. And I feel like now it makes me feel good and my pride even more to see Black people having a certain level of fluidity when it comes to pivoting into different areas. You know what I mean? Like we got our own examples right here. Like we have this podcast. That's, you know, so many people got podcasts, yes, but the fact that we're doing it, we're being consistent with it, and we got people who are now trying to follow in our footsteps because we did it. You know what I'm saying? So to me, that's a level of the Black pride right there. Like, you know, my brothers here, Jamie and Faith, like the Pattersons, like them coming together and creating, you know, Bethmont. That to me, that's a sign right there. Like that's how we're moving and we opening doors. You know, Vice by Vice Candles. Jermaine, you know, writing his first book, now working on his second book. You know, Kwame's, you know, Kelly having, you know, Kelly's coaching. Is Tiffany Tucker, who was on the show a couple of weeks ago, you know, being the athletic director at UNCW. Like all these things to me is what makes me feel good as a Black person, because I feel like so many different things are emerging, and regardless of how profitable these situations are, regardless of how much notoriety people get from these things, the fact that people are stepping out on their own and not waiting for the white man to give them anything, that makes me feel good. That makes my pride as a Black person go even higher, and it continues to build. And I want to keep showing that, you know, to my girls, because I'm really, like I said, they go to predominantly, you know, white schools. So every chance I get, I'm trying to show them things, introduce them to people, you know, like Ms. Ford, when we talked on the phone, I was like, when we come to homecoming this year, I'm going to bring my girls to meet you because you are such an influence on me, you know.
Absolutely.
So it's like, it's so many different areas that I try to expose them to, but that is my Black pride, like today, like just seeing my people, you know, just doing it and just trying to do things on their own. So though, to me, that's my energy of Black pride. You know what I mean?
Cheryl, and I mean, cut across Jimmy, but I also, like I said, I like the fact that you said, you know, with your daughters, that they make it to a white school, but you make it your purpose, and I know you do this personally anyway, for them to understand their Black culture, understand the connection to going to HBCU, just things in general, like, you know, Black dolls and all kinds of stuff like that, things that you're very conscious of that. And I think like I said, everybody I said earlier, I think a lot of people don't have that, I guess, that type of, we can't take it for granted, let me say that. Because you might have white people or Black people who might be around a whole white dynamic school, neighborhood, and everything else.
Right.
And they had no interest in knowing anything about their Black pride or their own roots and everything else. And it can be scary because sometimes you might get that and you end up getting somebody like a Candace Owens come out of that same situation. You know what I mean?
You
So
will
it's
get
just
that.
like,
You will get that, yeah.
you know what I mean? So you can't take it for granted. But I think, like I said, if you're in that situation, I think it's important for like Black families to also, you know, Black families that got bringing kids up and grandkids to make sure they have that exposure some kind of way. Because yes, they might be in a white world, but yeah, they always have to remember you're still a Black person, and that's how they seeing you.
Right.
I want to interject something here.
Yes, ma'am.
Kenneth Clark's study. You remember what that study was about? It was the doll study.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
And you know how long ago that was?
Right.
That was
So and Soledad Bryant, Bryant did it again in around 2009 and 10. They got the same result.
The same results. So this is what I'm saying. Kashara, you got little girls, you have to let them know that's still here in 2022. When you ask, when your dolls are exactly the same, the only thing is the difference in the color. And Black children will say, when they ask who is the prettiest, who is the cleanest, who is the smartest, they all say that the white doll is the cleanest, the smartest, and the prettiest. So you got little girls, you got to constantly tell them every day, show them every example that they have, how brilliant they are, how beautiful they are.
Because and you know what, to echo what Miss Forte saying, Kasharo, and maybe I'm speaking from an educator standpoint, but like, first of all, it's a learned behavior, right? We're not born that. We learn that. And when us as Black folks go into these white spaces, and we have these white teachers for 8 hours a day for 8 or 9 months, we're with these teachers more than we're with the folks in our community. We're with these teachers more than we're with our moms. We are subconsciously learning to devalue our culture and to devalue ourselves. So that's why, and we're going to talk about identity in a second. That's why it's so I wanted to hear Dick Gregory speak before he passed away. He said something mad profound. And what he said was, he was talking and he told everybody just to draw a stick man. So everybody's looking around like, what are you talking about? And everybody drew a little stick man. Watch this now. And this was pivotal. So everybody, and it was a room full of Black folks. They drew a stick man. And then he said, I want everybody to look at the features. Every person in that room had white features on that stick man. Nobody had a fat nose. Everybody had a pointed nose, pointed ears, because we have been conditioned, and we are still being conditioned if we're not conscious of it, to value white features, white culture, and the bandwidth of white frequency is better. And I'm gonna say this too, not to cut you off, but think about this. And I told this to my students this week in my Tuesday lecture. In my class, I created this class called Writing for Social Equity. And I told them, I said, I have a hard time defining Black success, because I only can measure it against the folks in my family, because at every tier of my success, I had to be validated by a white person. I never had a Black person to validate, and I'm sick of white folks validating my skill set and my existence. So
that's exactly
right.
In that space.
Jamie, you didn't really say what was your thoughts on it.
Okay, so when I think of Black pride, sincerely, I think about how far we could have been if there were not intervening by our white counterparts. I'm listening to a book now called White Rage by Carol Anderson. And it's amazing. She's telling us that white people don't get mad, they just fix shit. So we had Hayti and Durham, they threw the freeway through that motherfucker. Cut all that shit out, right? Chop it up. So you didn't like it in Wilmington, they killed everybody.
Right.
So when we get mad and get emotional, they get litigious and they'll just fix it.
Playing for the size. Yep.
So just imagine if we didn't have the drugs in the 80s, you know. We still have marijuana, but they gave us crack. Come on, dog.
You put all that heroin, all that in our
community. They gave us that. They didn't just end up in Kansas City. They had to get there. So I just imagine where we could be. So a lot of us are now first generation, meaning our children would be what we should have been in the 80s. We have 2-parent homes and successful lives. Well, the kids coming out of there are going to be smarter. So we should have been there. But my stepfather was on drugs. or I lost a parent, and he's making the house suffer because he's selling everything. Right. So I am less than because he didn't have an opportunity. He was stuck. I mean, my town had a lot of black men, but a lot of those guys were on drugs. And it's not their fault.
Right.
Got caught up in the trap. And it's what if I think often where will we be if is what I'm thinking.
That's
like, you know, watching Kashara with his two daughters and his wife, you know, you're gonna have a great chance of success because they had a mom and a dad on the same page.
Right.
And it matters. I've been the same page part. It was keto, but yeah, but that definitely matters. I think you have a different, I don't say advantage. We had to get two different perspectives in the household.
Yeah.
How to do certain things. I know there's certain things that my son gonna do with my wife that he's not gonna do with me, and vice versa. But and stuff I don't want to do. I'm like, I don't want to do that she's doing, but she don't have no problem doing it. But I still try to appreciate it because in the day he's getting a different, you know, different viewpoint, different skills. You know what I'm saying? Along with whatever I'm teaching them too. And then I guess like when you're in that situation, you might only get it from one point of view. You might have some outside influence. I'm talking about as far as from a parent. So, you know.
All right. So, okay. Listen, we can be here all night talking about that stuff, man. But
y'all got my juices flowing now.
I know, man. I know. Well, you know what? Since they flowing, let's here we go. Let's think about relationships now, right? Let's just I want us to tell one of the darkest, nastiest, freakiest secrets. No, I'm just playing. No.
What?
Listen.
No, hold on, bro.
He's going off the rails over here, ain't he? Off the rails.
No, y'all, I'm just playing. We're gonna say that for the last show when we ain't got no shirts on. But look, how I want to. Here's something I do want to know though. I'm interested in terms of relationships. Like, I want to get you guys' perspective on how would you handle dealing with being in a relationship, either a spouse or a partner, and they actually are putting their vices first, or their jobs first, or their hobbies first before you in this particular relationship. Me personally, I haven't experienced that, but from what I am aware of the whole topic is with married folks, marriages typically end within 3 years of that taking place, of that happening. But I'm just curious, like how, you know, because there are folks dealing with that. But what do you guys think about in terms of handling it? And have you ever experienced that before? We're gonna let Ms. Forte start this off.
Well, I'm glad you came to me because I've been married 3 times.
Okay.
And I on my vows, my first marriage, I said, just as long as love lasts. That's it, you know, never to you know, to death do us part is the death of love. You know, that was my whole thing. So I left him. I moved to Seattle. Second marriage. That was 10 years later. He died, and now so I'm on my third marriage. Okay, but everybody's individual. You have marriage goals that we do together, but we also have individual goals that you marry somebody, but you're not, when they say we as one, we are as one in terms of the things we want to achieve in our lives. You know, we want to buy a house. We want to, you know, make sure our kids go to this school and, you know, get things together. Right. But my path is my path and your path is your path. And so as far as it's a coming together, it's not that you put things above your marriage, but there are times when it's just going to be, I'm very selfish in that because I am doing me. And I expect that there are times when I know he's going to be doing him. You going off golfing with your boys, and I'm hanging out with my girls, and we get back together and and I'm 73. So where these people, we always have to be tied at the hip together. I don't understand that.
I don't either.
Yeah.
That's just I think that would be bored. Would I be bored? I'm a Gemini. I'd be very bored with that, and I don't want anybody up under me like that. I want, if I need help on something, I'm expecting you to be my help partner. You need help on something, we're gonna get down, we're gonna do this together, but we're not gonna be tied at the hip.
Right.
No.
Right. Jamie, what you think?
I agree with her wholeheartedly. I just want somebody to tell them.
Because they love you.
Watch it.
We knew that, and she really loves me, but I'll be all into all over the place with my business and just trying to, remain as I'm the life of the party. I really enjoy that, but I have to turn my focus to my wife. So she needs what she needs, and I have to provide for it without saying, sorry, Kwame, I can't come out tonight because I got to stay home and do whatever.
How easy is that for you?
Party.
So how easy is that for you?
It's not easy at all. I love to do what I want to do when I want to do it. I have to ask, but it's more like, no, you got to be, considerate. I think that's it.
Right.
It's a hard thing. But somebody to know where I am, and there may be something we discussed that I forgot about. But if it were me, I would just ask her, look, let me get on your calendar, because I'm more like Miss Forte. I got my own agenda. I want to go outside and just be in the woods and hang in my hammock. Oh, but we got to go and see the Johnson.
Got to do these other things, and we do that.
Oh yeah. Right. So I just have to say, keep me abreast of the calendar, because otherwise I'm gonna take time to myself, because I've been myself for 45 years, and we've been together for 3. It's kind of hard to get me to change overnight without constant redirection. So I would ask to be on the calendar if I have something. I mean, I personally love a person that has other things going.
Yeah.
Because that's exciting, because it's going to take us somewhere. I don't know where. Exactly. Just like I just popped in my head the episode of the Cosby's where Claire had remember she had that thing, and they went to the gardener show and shit, and it was like, yo, it's her thing. And Cliff put his jacket down and made it look better. That pumpkin, that long ass pumpkin.
Right.
The point is, she has something else. My wife is AK. Thank God she gets to go to those meetings and be involved. Otherwise, you just looking at me because I'm in the wind everywhere. Where we going? What's next?
Right.
Got some Q-Dog shit. Got some PBL shit.
Right.
Some NCCU stuff. I'm gonna go, but I have to learn how to slow down and certainly make time and just get on her calendar. The answer for me is like, can I get on this time during the day?
Right. Okay. Bet. Kwame, you thinking about something similar as Jamie said, or something different?
Well, yeah. Well, kind of the same, but maybe in a different way. So, like when Jamie's explaining, like maybe have to get used to talk to somebody and things like that. I think in my terms, I don't think, generally speaking, I don't really think that, but I know sometimes in my selfish moments, I guess I would say, is that I feel like she put her work a whole lot, like not necessarily head of me, but the head of the family are doing things, even though I know it's not the truth. But in my moments, I feel that way, you know what I'm saying? Because then I have to kind of like reel myself back in and be like, well, I know she's, the high management level, so she can require a lot of opinions and those things like that. But I have to think through this stuff sometimes. I'm like, yo, we at home, we chilling. I want to talk to my wife, whatever the case may be, or spend time as a group. And then she got another meeting she got going to and like that. And sometimes I get kind of like, hey, you know what I mean? But her position is different than mine. What I do, with different things, and I have to kind of talk myself like through those things. But like you said, James, especially a lot of us probably getting more married and later in life. Right. That's more time, like you said, if you being who you are for, saying 40 something years versus, 25. You know what I'm saying? You have a earlier chance to kind of grow together. But now I'm like, I've been doing this way, and that's how I've been doing it for this long, and vice versa, the things you do. And now you have to kind of like really be conscious sometimes and be like, yo, you know what? This is not about me, yada yada. And doing it without losing yourself though. And that's the thing. It's a balance act. You can't be just everything. Yeah, I'm doing it, and you regretting it, and you feeling all, feeling all miserable. So it got to be a balance.
What you think?
I agree. I agree with Ms. Forte, with Jamie, and Kwame. I personally have never dealt with that, but I've been the person who has been, I don't want to say accused, but I've been the person that I guess is doing too much,
right?
In my relationship. So it was some adjusting for my wife to I can say be with someone like me, because I personally don't feel like I do a lot, to be honest with you. But it was a time in her mind, she feel like, you always talk to this person, you always trying to go to this, you always trying to do that. That's just who I am. I like people like to talk to me, you know what I mean? And I like to keep up with people, and I like to do things at the same time. So it was an adjustment for her. So I think, being married 20 years, I think it has now she's grown into who she is, and I've grown to who I am. But now there's more of an understanding, because she has other things going on with herself and her path. Right. So it's kind of like she understands now. So when she's doing X, Y, Z, and she gets busy and she got to do this and she got to, even when she want to go out with a girl, I don't say nothing. I'm like, oh, okay, go, cool, do you, because there's gonna be a time when I want to do me, So it's just one of the things, like you just gotta learn the person you with. Like you said, the key word is being considerate of what the other person has going on. Because at the end of the day, you are you and I am me. We are not the same people.
Right. And I think that's something that should be established early in a relationship, not even like like it should preface marriage, right? Because that's part of your identity. Don't get me wrong. I know I'm not. You guys are married. I'm not. And I get that compromise.
But you've been in relationships.
Yeah, I've been in relationships. Right. And but I've experienced that, or a person may feel a certain kind of way because maybe my social circle is a bit more extended than theirs, or whatever the case may be. But I think it's something that it has to be established, because everything we're talking about is part of your identity. It can be, but it can be weaponized, right? It can be seen as, you just not wanting to compromise. But I think it's give and take, right? From my experiences, it's give and take. So yeah.
It is. I just don't see how, like, for me and my wife were talking about this today on the way home from work, and just like people we know, I just don't see how people don't have outlets outside of the person they're with.
Mm-hmm.
I do not understand that. We cannot fathom that. Like, how do you do that? Because at some point, I think that's going to be a recipe for disaster.
It is a recipe for disaster.
Right.
And boring, yes.
Right.
Boring.
How do you learn stuff if you just always we have the same conversation?
It's bad. We can't have experiences. We're not going away to experience something to come back together.
Exactly. And let me come back and share with you what happened.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, now when you saw the same thing that I saw, like, what were we talking about? I mean, if we talk about it together, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I like learning about what's going on, my wife's day and stuff, how it was going on. Oh, John did what? Oh, okay. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so I mean, at least it's something to talk about. We seen the same thing. Then, like, you saw what I saw. What we doing?
Yep.
But I do think, since we were kind of talking about a relationship and putting people forward, kind of switching gears a little bit. And I was, in terms of thinking of the question, I was thinking about how you teach your kids how to be a leader and not a follower. I was thinking about necessarily biological kids, but that necessarily have to be the case. You can be an educator and teaching your kids and stuff too. So as we're talking right now, like, so we got two professors up here. So I would let you go first and tell me, like, and you're probably expert at this, because it seemed like I didn't have you personally. Actually, I was a little intimidated to go to your class, to be honest with you. I think I had like Miss Womble or somebody for a speech.
Miss Womble.
Okay, Miss Womble.
Yeah, so if I remember correctly, but
see, you don't remember her name.
Yeah, is. She said it right. She confirmed it
Ms.
for me. Just
Womble, Brenda Womble.
Yep, that's it. Brenda Womble. Yep.
Boy,
Still teaching.
Oh, she is. Oh, okay. Yeah. So, but like as a professor, and like you said, you have people where it's biological or just people you went through your past life. What are the things that you leave with as far as how to be a how to be a leader, not a follower?
Well, we all lead and we all follow, and so
that's true too.
When we have to celebrate. See, your professors are special people. Many times, if you've got one that's afraid of the genius in the room, they are afraid to be challenged by somebody in the room, afraid to be wrong. There's sometimes you have students that are much smarter than the professor. I mean, in terms of how quickly they think, how they process stuff. You got to be, as a teacher, you got to be able to educate. You got to be able to see that, recognize that, and say, you are sharp as hell. This is what you need to do. You got to encourage that genius instead of being threatened by it.
Man, that's real.
You can't be threatened. A good professor can't be threatened by the genius that's in the room. You got to accept that and say, you know what? You've got a great mind, great ideas. Let's focus on that. Let's build on that. So because that person's teaching you.
Yeah.
And it's okay. And it's okay. So I think sometimes we get we let the degrees and we let the time that we spend and we let the age make us think, sometimes your children are smarter than you in certain things. They can help you. They are digital natives. So your kids can help you figure out some things. That Lego system and stuff, if you never played Legos before, you don't know Rubik's Cube. No, they can fix those Rubik's Cubes like this and be done with it. So we got to accept that there is brilliance among us, and it's okay. And in fact, it's empowering. So that's how you create those leaders. You celebrate their leadership. If they know how to do something, they've got their multiplication stuff down. They can add and subtract. They can show you how to navigate, how to use the GPS, whatever they're doing. You celebrate that. That's how you build on leadership. You look at those nuggets that they give you, tiny things. It can be small things. Oh, I did this on my computer. I learned how to do this. Come watch me do this, Dad. Let me show you this. And you get excited about the fact that they are teaching you, or they are showing you something. That's the brilliance, instead of squashing it and saying, no, don't do that now. You don't need to do that. Let's put that up. Yeah. And many times, because we want to be the smartest ones in the room. You don't know how to do that. Sit down. You don't know. You don't touch my stuff. Let them explore it. And that's where they are. So it's the gifts that we know that God has given us that have been implanted in those that carry our seed, that we have the opportunity to teach, and we celebrate that and support that and find ways to help navigate that. If you know an opportunity for somebody, a career opportunity, you push them towards that. So that's the part of the mentoring that's why we're here.
Yeah.
That's why we're here. And this is what North Carolina A&T does. We may not want to talk about the Aggies, but when they tell you wherever an Aggie is, your job is to find if there's another Aggie in that town, you find them and celebrate them and help them. That's what you all are doing as Eagles. That's what you do. And this has to be replicated. It has to be replicated. You're doing genius work.
Well, we definitely appreciate that.
You're doing genius work, yeah.
And it's for you giving a master class. So I know you have a wealth of experience, but I want to know, and this is just for you, like in a situation, if you have somebody like in your class or one of your kids, and they tend to be a follower in a way where it's negative, like they making like maybe, and they have the ability to be a good leader. Well, how will you approach that situation?
I have a one-on-one with them because there's so many times the genius has been squashed in the person. Right. Because they have been called a smart aleck, you this, you think you know every damn thing, and you don't know it. And so they tend to either be sometimes the kid that's reticent to say anything, or they're the loud mouth. Whatever it is, it has to be a one-on-one. I got a little girl right now who is absolutely brilliant. She doesn't quite know it. She wants to challenge everything I say. So we go back and forth. We go back and forth all the time. And I have to tell her, I said, Haley, you're brilliant. Now, I think you might know as much as I do. You might know more. So what I have to do is let her know I'm comfortable with her being who she is. It's okay. I don't want her to feel like she can't speak up. Come on, challenge. Let's do this thing. Let's do this thing. And it's not gonna be that I'm gonna win all the time. I mean, you got good stuff. She gave a speech on social determinants of the other day. That was absolutely brilliant. Little girl from Greenville, South Carolina. So I have to nurture her because I know she is. I know she's going to do great things, unless she gets with somebody who squashes their potential. She got to go to Jermaine's class. She got to go to grad school and get in the class. So I have to keep pushing her and let her know it's okay, sweetie. But it's a one-on-one. You have to know your kids. You have to know your students, just like you know your children. You have to know your children. They're all different too. Right. Yep. And you've got to support every one of them in the manner that they need to be supported.
Right. Gotcha.
So on the emails, I'm texting Haley, telling her what a good job she did in class. When she's not in class, asking her where she's been, because I know she's not just that way in my class. I know she's like that in other classes, and some professors may not.
Can't deal with it. It's a lot of ego you have to do when you have to kind of.
Oh, sure it is. And as a professor, you got to swallow yours sometimes. So it's okay.
So I'm going professor then. So Jermaine, like how will you deal with like teaching a kid how to be a leader and not a follower? Like how you approach that?
Well, let me start by saying this. When I was in the 8th grade, I had this teacher named Mr. Thomas. I can't remember the question he asked, but he asked the question, and I answered it. I was the only one. I answered the question, and I might have been showing off. I don't know. I know I answered the question. I never forget.
You showing off.
Probably so. I was probably joning on people and showing up, but anyway, I handled the question, and I'll never forget this. On the way to lunch, he singled me out. He let everybody go and get lined up in the hall, and he cornered me and said, "Don't you ever in your life embarrass me like that again."
Dang.
I never forget that. But here's the thing. I think at that moment, I
froze up.
Oh,
you froze. Knew and I understood I knew my personal environment was grooming me to be a leader. Okay. I knew at that point, and I'm gonna come back to that in a second. I'm gonna finish that point up. But my point is, so to me, a leader is someone whom other people follow, right? Now, I don't have a problem with somebody following as long as the intentions of the follow, if the intentions are to mean well. I have a problem with folks blindly following people. I have students now in my class who are brilliant. My students think that I'm brilliant. I don't know everything. So here's what I do. What Ms. Forte just said, I co-sign everything she just said. there's a term called scaffolding. And what that means is you being able to evenly teach to all learning styles. And if you can't do that, you will not make it at any level as an instructor or professor. So that's something that I mastered early on. I've been a professor now for 17 years. Doesn't even seem like it. But I mastered that my first 2 and 3 years. I wanted to know because I know how hard it is to get everybody's attention in the room. But here's my point. So I think when it comes to leadership, I know for me, I just try to do what my professors, Dr. Farabee, Miss Forte, Dr. Ellis, the first professor I ever heard curse in class.
I'm gonna tell her. I'm gonna call her tonight and tell her.
Hey, tell Dr. Ellis. And look, I know Dr. Ellis's people down in Wilson too. The lady,
Wait a minute,
Dr. Woodard.
she owns the school. She has a school.
Dr. Woodard. Joanne Woodard.
Joanne Woodard. Yes.
Yeah. So she was cussing because she said Martin, when she was like, he makes me sick, dumbass self, be acting like a clown and tap dancing. I was like, hold up, you talking about Martin now? But my point is, listen, even with, okay, I'm gonna focus on my HBCU students, my students over at Bowie State. I noticed that those students look for me to be a mentor, okay? They look for me, I can relate to them, to the music and all that, but it's kind of like, it's a lot of heavy lifting on my end because I have to make sure that I'm up for the task of cultivating them as leaders. The social media world, everybody's talking about following folks, everybody's talking about follow me and things like that, but I think those follow intentions are not well. So this is what I do. I listen to them. I have a couple of students who are super sharp in those classes. I listen to them, and when they make these profound points, listen, I water it. Go ahead, do it. Matter of fact, you making my job easy. Do your thing, contribute and give your perspective to class discussions. And then we go to the PWI where I'm full time. I teach master level courses too. These students are smart. Now, in terms of the courses I teach on racism, it's more of a learning experience for them, but they're willing to be uncomfortable. I drag them out in them deep waters now. I take them out in them deep waters and I get hey, but my point is this. Here's my point. With me, I focus on leadership. I mean, don't get me wrong. So we all follow, but I think you have to follow with great intentions. And I think for me, this is what I saw when I got to NCCU. And you guys know me. I was groomed and came up around older men, my older brothers and older uncles. These guys were hustlers. They weren't Yale grads and Harvard grads, and they got busy. And they had a different perspective of men and men's roles in society. So that was instilled in me. So when I got to school, the pledging thing wasn't me. I just felt like I saw certain folks looking to be validated. They made it, they probably weren't the most popular in high school or couldn't get the girls in high school. So they joined these fraternities and sorority or whatever, and did these certain things. And because they didn't have an identity, they still were followers. And I didn't want to go down that path. So all I know is with me and my students, I stick to scaffolding. I keep my research current on that. And I meet them where they are. I meet their brilliance where it is. And I just cultivate that. I don't know everything, and it's okay to be, if I feel like I'm the smartest person in the room when I step in the room, but guess what? If I'm not, I'm ready to learn. Give me information so I can be empowered. So I don't have a problem with that. I'm comfortable with that. So, yeah.
All right, man.
Jermaine, I just texted Joyce Ellis and told her
Dr. Ellis
said she was the first that you heard cursing. I'm in context. Back to me. I just saw her today. We talk every day.
Listen, that between you and her, y'all my baby mamas. I love y'all. I'm serious, man. Y'all were an extension of mama when we was there.
That's it.
Exactly.
That's what's up. But that's some good stuff. So Jamie, like I said, you've been, of course, a parent, but the situation has been a step parent. And how were you dealing with if you saw Madison wasn't being a leader and you have some concerns, like what would be your, what do you think you need to say, or either show her?
I think it's what is she looking at? If the parents are followers, and clearly we aren't, Faith and I aren't. So Madison, we took her to her camp, to a Delta camp of all things. Her mama let her go to a Delta camp, and they had a speaking competition, like $50 if you could give a presentation. And Madison's generally very quiet, but she jumped up there because her mom would do that. So it's, you normally go after what you can see, right? So she saw that there's $50 out here. All you have to do is go up here and talk, essentially. Well, do what your mama would do. Go up here and talk. So it's leadership. She gets to see it. So if you know, most children are going to be not going to fall too far from that parental tree. I mean, if I found her doing something, we would discuss it. Let me hear your side. Why did you decide to do that? Because I wasn't perfect and
Yeah.
never will be.
Right.
But please let me hear your side. That's the difference. Before scolding, what did you see that I didn't see, and why did you do that?
Yeah. Find out the information first.
Give me what you and is that your side? Because that's not right. Because pointing and screaming at is not going to be the answer to a smart person. I got to figure out how to help you, because girls are mature early, so they think, right? But with wisdom, I can tell you what you didn't see coming. So that's what we have to sit down, and thankfully she speaks with us about what's going on with relationships and what's going on in school, what have you. It's not a secret.
That's good,
So she
man.
said, look, I want to talk to y'all. And we'll sit and listen and get her outside of it. She gets to decide what she wants to do with it. And it's to tell the child, I understand that we're your parents, but we're here to give you wisdom. Knowledge and wisdom go together. Right. So you can't just think you know everything because you're mature. You're not that mature. You're still 15.
Still learning.
Right.
So we give her the opportunity to talk to us and be clear and free about, with no hidden agendas or saying some old crack or taking something away. If she told us something, it's like, we're on your side. Tell us what you want. And we want you to be a leader, but you have to, show us that you can do this. And so far, so good. She's a great child.
That's what's up.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
And Cheryl, man, I think this question came to mind. We were trying to come up with some stuff was because the situation we talked about. And I don't know if you could go into it, but when you was telling, you said you told me that Tawana would tell your girls that to be a leader, not a follower. You know what I'm saying? And at times you have to remind them. So I didn't know if anything how you want to share that situation or anything else.
Well, yeah, pretty much just to move it along, because I kind of echo what everybody said. So yeah, every morning, ever since the girls started school, so one of her things she said, it's funny because I never really thought about it. Like, why is she telling me? I know why she's telling them that, but it didn't dawn on me that she tells me this every day. But she always say, girls, go to school, focus, pay attention, learn what you can. She say, always remember, be leaders, not followers. She told me every day.
Information.
She told me every day before she leaves for work, because she leaves first. But I'm a work in progress with this whole follower leader thing. Like I know how to identify, when the kids are being leaders versus followers. But I think it's about knowing when and what they're following or leading. Most of the time we think about something, the negative part of it, but not the positive things, because there are positive ways to do it too. But recently we had a situation where I got just so upset because I felt like what I did, because she did something that we told her not to do. She went and did something we told her not to do. And when she said why she did it, she said, she was telling the conversation of how her friends were talking about her getting something. And she knew she wasn't supposed to do it, but she ended up getting it anyway. But how she told the story was that my friends told me to do it. And so I went into a rage because we always tell you, do not be following what other people tell you to do. They tell you jump off the bridge, you're going to do it. And so I reacted.
That example.
Right.
Jump off the bridge.
Right.
That's a classic right there.
Yeah. So I was like, I went into a rage and went off, put her on punishment and told her, she would never talk to those friends again because they influence you to do bad things. And so took the phone away and everything. So after having a conversation with Tawana, you know, I had to process it because I was just so mad that she went against what we told her to do. I was like, you know what? It wasn't her friends told her to do it. She made the wrong choice of doing what we told her not to do, because they can't make her do anything. Even if they told her to do it, she still made a choice to do it. And I was looking at you following behind your friends, and it wasn't that. It was you made the wrong choice, and you need to make better choices. You know, so I had to swallow it and go back and tell her, I was like, okay, well, you still on punishment. You ain't getting your phone back until December, but you can talk to them.
See Jamie's face?
Oh yeah.
In Miss Forte's face?
Yeah.
Now she's gonna be using somebody else's telephone. She's gonna be using somebody else's phone. Now she's gonna do something else now because you tried December. Shower. That's wrong. That's wrong there.
Well, she may get it back. Like I said, me and my wife had a conversation, and we're basically like the first quarter is about to end.
2 weeks or something like that.
That's a long time.
On jail.
The first quarter about to end. So if her grades are what they need to be, then she'll get it back. Which she get it. She's a good student. But that's what I'm saying, that it's so easy as an adult, as a parent, as a mentor, or whoever's in your life to have your mindset on how you want your kids to be followers or leaders, but you have to remember, sometimes you gotta check yourself and make sure that you are exemplifying exactly how the reaction should be what it is. And my reaction was not appropriate.
Crime got to fix.
I recognize that.
I'm glad you realized that.
You know, so I'm working on me. So
but it's good that you even recognize that, right? It's good that you even, you know, some people, I guess, you know, as parents, it's that whole patriarchal power thing, like what I say, go type thing,
the whole ego thing. Once again, we talked about
that whole ego thing.
But with them overall, as parents, we both try to entertain, you know, their ideas, like Ms. Forte said, you know, nurture what they into, encourage. You know, try not to push them too far out their comfort zone, but just enough to see, like I said, because their personality is still developing. So it's like an ongoing process, you know, especially at this age, you know.
Right.
But so that's my take on it. But yeah, Miss Forte, no worries. She'll
That's right.
back.
Get that baby her phone back.
She'll get it back.
Miss Ellis says, I remember him quite well. Tell him so. He's changed very little.
They still a menace.
To society.
Okay.
Oh, great. All right. Man, comes to one of the best parts of the show. Our dose of dopeness, which we highlight greatness and great things that people are doing. And Ms. Minnie Forte Brown, you are our dose of dopeness highlight for this episode. And before I even try to go down some things you did, I just want to say, for me personally, how you've impacted a lot of people at North Carolina Central University. Let me just say that. Like your name lives on through so many people.
God be the glory.
Yeah, and you know, I can speak for me personally, like you just talking about how you nurture and encourage your students sometimes. Like, why I say you impacted me so much, because I always knew I was a strong person. I always stood up for myself, but it wasn't as big as it could be. And when we had to give that first speech in your class, and I went and I talked about romance, and you said,
little boy,
yeah, you said the speech was good, but you said, Kisharo, you don't be shy and don't be coy, because you want to make people believe that you know what you're talking about. And if you can't sell it, they're not going to take you serious.
You got to be able to sell it.
And ever since that point, I have always been like, I believe in what I say, and I say what I mean. Even if I'm wrong, you know, like I said, I can own up to it. But from that point, it just ignited something in me to be like, look, what I have to say matters, and I need you to listen to what I have to say, whether or not you agree with it or not. But this is what I have to say, you know, and hopefully you listening. And so that was something that has just stuck with me throughout and to this day. So I just want to, you know, thank you for that and give you your flowers for that. But in other highlights of your career, your illustrious career, like I said, Ms. Minnie Brown Forte was the member and president-elect of the of the North Carolina Board of Associations. She was an officer for the National School Board Association. She was also an officer for the Council of Urban Boards Education. She has a bachelor's in speech and English and master's in speech pathology and audiology, which I didn't know that. That was a new one I didn't recognize. But with all that being said, I don't want to get too much of what you're doing. This is your time to shine and tell us what you've been doing, what you have coming up, anything. This is your time to just do you and let the people know what Miss Minnie Forte Brown is up to. So the floor is yours.
Well, I'm a Gemini. So that means you're doing all kinds of things, all these different selves. So like I said, I'm the engagement officer for the NC10. Mm-hmm. I'm really proud of that. That's a young Black man that's doing great stuff. I have 2 jobs. I look for superintendents. So I'm part of a superintendent search firm out of Iowa, where I look for superintendents around the country to go to various positions, and interviewing them and making sure that they get grounded well. I also work with employee benefits company. And I came upon that by dealing with the school board and making sure that those employees, those bus drivers, those cafeteria workers have great benefits when they work hard. And so many times upper level central office staff, they have good benefits, but the people who are really doing the work, the hard work, meeting your children first thing in the morning after you get through taking their phones and everything from them, then they're the ones that have to get them ready to go into the building and get in ready to learn post. So just making sure that they can take care of their families. And many times they have pre-existing conditions. You have to make sure that they have cancer coverage and diabetes coverage, those kind of things. So I work for employee benefits firm that I really, really enjoy doing. Right now, my civic stuff is, of course, you're part of your church. I'm doing the church anniversary, White Rock Baptist Church, 156 years. James E. Shepherd was a member of our congregational family. His father was our pastor. And so we are celebrating at the new student center on the campus of North Carolina Central University. I'm heading that up, and I am so excited about that because we have sold out. We are sold out.
That's 1,000.
Coming Sunday.
That's good, man.
We got Sweet Dreams. We got a professional photographer. We got Quaylen Murphy with her fine self.
You're pretty somebody.
D doing her thing. So we're excited about that. I'm excited we're bringing that to campus. The next thing that I'm doing is I'm not co-chair. I guess we call it co-chairing. I'm one of the people that's helping the bond, pass the bond for Durham. We have 3 things on the bond: schools, the museum, and Durham Tech. So I'm the only woman on it. The former mayor, Mayor Shule, Mayor Bell, Mike Lee, who was the former chair, and myself. We are the people that are the captains for the bond. So I'm really excited about that. And the last thing that I'm doing, not the last thing, but another thing I'm doing that I want to involve you all with. You talked about Black businesses. You talked about how we felt when we owned businesses. And you talked about Hayti. I am co-chairing a Hayti project. It's called The Healing of Hayti. Well, I want us to move past. I think healing comes when you put something down in Hayti that represents what we want to see the young people want to come to, the people that live across the tracks and or white people want to come down and enjoy. So Haiti's done. That's a part of my growing up. That's been well over 60 years ago. Haiti's been gone. The kids that are at North Carolina Central University need to come this way north, not all the time go that way south. So we got to have something to bring them down there. besides fried chicken
Right.
and Walgreens. I want to know from young people, because you all are young, what kinds of things, what kind of businesses would you like to see down there? We're getting ready to build 600 units, rental units. Hopefully some students will be able to get those units. Families will see it, will be able to send their kids down there and say, this is where my daughter, my son can live and go to school at NCCU. It's safe, it looks good. But also there should be some businesses that are around there that we can, that they can also go and patronize. What would you like to see down there? Tell me.
Well, I think definitely. Go ahead, Jamie.
Yeah, you got to see food. You got to see healthy alternatives.
When you say food, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about heavy dishes, something you can sit down and have hearty meals, and then something light like a coffee house.
Okay, a coffee house, got it.
Yeah, but we don't want
Doesn't have to be Starbucks.
That's
No.
right. We don't want to get to. It needs to be mom and pop. It needs to feel like it's from Durham.
Okay.
Not corporate. Like
corporate. It should be
chains.
corporate. Could that make everything
like everything else?
Like, because we have Nzinga's Cafe, which is across the street from Hayti. So her having a spot would be great,
Okay, well, she got her dad's spot. She's probably gonna stay there. This is gonna be 600 family units, and it's gonna be
use.
Multi-generational. I'm thinking in
multi-purpose type.
Yes, and so we're looking at what. Remember Shay? You remember Shay Bella?
Shabella,
Yeah.
I'm thinking she's has a spot down in University Hill now, but they don't want Black children down there. So she's gonna have to move. I thought it might be a great place for her to come and have a teen center. That's what she does, a teen center, bringing kids.
But that's what I was thinking when you were saying what type of things. So I was thinking something like more of some type of mentoring type program or something.
I mean, it could, but now it's got to generate money.
Yeah,
right? So
but something with
so maybe
like mental health. Something got to do with mental health. But like I said, if you got 600 units, you want to have something with food.
600 units. Those are gonna be families. So those will be families. People are gonna be bringing money, and you don't want them to all have to leave.
You gotta spend that money.
But what about, Ms. Forte, what about some before and after school programs for kids? Maybe it can be something like chess. Maybe it can be something about music. Maybe it can be something about building brand self-esteem, incorporating technology with that.
Merchandise. You want to talk merchandise, like
right?
Something to change.
Pierce
like you want merchandise.
Right.
Pierce Freeline does something with young people. I can't remember what it is, but something of that nature. So what would NCCU has Chick-fil-A. If you've been down here, you've seen that the kids are out the door almost trying to get to eat Chick-fil-A.
Well, here's the thing too. I think with Chick-fil-A, it maybe things have changed. I remember some years ago, my siblings and I, we looked in trying to get it franchised. It was pretty reasonable, but they only bill their radius that they bill. Is the median income is what I was told. Where they bill has to be at a particular apex, right? So if folks around that within a 5-mile radius, probably they base it off their incomes. They're not going to put a Chick-fil-A in that area. Now it could have changed, Ms. Forte, Dr.
Forte. Oh, no, the houses now about run between 400 to 600,000.
Ooh, so but I would put that down. I would still put it down. I would put.
Well, I just threw that out there. The people that the Hesters that own Phoenix Square said that the people should be more interested in stuff like they have on Franklin Street that are businesses that are not big corporations.
Right.
Something more like you were saying, Jamie, more mom and pop.
Mom and pop gelato, ice cream, things like that.
Gelato, there you go.
Yeah, okay. Because the summertime's gonna.
I want some white people to be coming through here.
Absolutely.
You got coffee, you got gelato.
I want to cross the track.
Coffee, gelato. What else?
like a like a vegan type spot, like something that doesn't that
Right.
does not
Like
just
if we could get Slutty Vegan, but she's not
Yeah.
franchising right now.
but something along
It's
those
similar to
lines,
that,
like
yeah.
someone who
That'll-
caters
that'll
to
come out there. They just
But
gotta-
we could still get something like Slutty Vegan.
yeah, exactly.
You know.
Some type of juice bar. Juice
Yeah,
bars are
just-
coming.
Okay, juice bar.
Smoothies, juice bar, all that.
Mhm.
Okay, all right, and that's something that kids will come to. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
for
you.
sure.
But I'm happy to be among the living every morning when I wake up. I thank God for letting me see another day. I know that I am gifted in terms of dealing with young people. And so I think I'm good in that. I thank God that I can still walk to school, walk up the steps, have the energy to teach 2 classes. I'll do that for as long as I can. It keeps me alive. Young people energize me. So I want to know how they think. I can't just be around everybody that's my age, because we all thinking around the same way.
Right.
So you got to have somebody that enlightens you. So being around life and youth is so important. Celebrating and then the things that they don't know because they haven't been taught by, they haven't had the opportunity to have people that look like us be in their lives. So I'm encouraged with that, to know that I can celebrate their Blackness in celebrating my own Blackness.
Definitely. And that's
So
why
I'm proud to be here with you guys. That's what I told Joyce. I said it's all brothers on the pod.
Right.
This is good, and I'm liking this. And so I'm excited about that. Thank you. I'm humbled and thankful for you allowing me, asking me to come on here, Kashara. I appreciate that.
No doubt. And that's why, you are life. And so,
Mr. NCCU, what is it, 2023?
Yeah, you calling it to existence. You right.
Right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You heard it here first.
Thank you. Well, we want to thank you again, Ms. Forte Brown, for being a part of our show tonight. We want to thank all our listeners and viewers for continuing
Welcome to my mud room.
to keep up with us. If you want to reach out to us, you can always hit us up at 4timesdopepodcast@gmail.com. You can always DM us on Instagram. We are on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at 4timesdopepodcast. And please don't forget, we have some great merchandise at Subject to Change, which is www.shops2c.com.